Good morning, everyone. Welcome inside the Faith Loop. We trust that you'll join with us today and enjoy the broadcast and what we have to say. We're continuing the study of the name, and we trust it's being a blessing to you. Our purpose in this program is to get you to think, to get you to understand, to get you to study on your own. Go look at some things, dig in there. And while you're at it, if you like what we do and you like what we say, go down and hit the subscribe button so that you can get notifications of the program when it's on. And then hit the bell next to it, and then you'll get the notifications and so forth, and you'll know when we're on, and you'll be able to join with us. So thank you for joining with us today on the broadcast. The name of anything is very important. I mean, why do we name each other? Why do we name our children? Why do we name anything? Even in advertising, even in products that we see and buy all the time, name branding is what you'll hear. The advertisers talk about, they all talk about name branding. If you wear a patch on your hand because you cut yourself, you call it a Band-Aid, but Curad makes them too, and there's others that make them. But for years, that's what you would say, give me a Band-Aid. Why? Because we know that name. Other products that we just commonly know is by the name. So the name is very, very important in almost everything in life. And so we're going to discuss that today some more at length.
Well, Dad, to that point, it sounds kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
What I'm getting ready to say, because we've all heard it in the movies, stop in the name of the law.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know I'm bringing something, it sounds a little silly, but we've all heard this. I would imagine at some point, some time or another. And when I was thinking about this subject matter, this is what popped in my head. Of course, it normally strange things pop in my head. Yeah. And I just was looking at this, and I thought, well, what's the name of the law?
Think about it.
Right?
Yeah.
We say these things, but then why do we say it? Why is that even being said? Well, you go back through history, and for a long time, what was said was in the name of the king.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Our history, just history in this respect. And if we don't look at these things in this fashion, we're going to get caught up in something that I think is what we've done. Everything is very abstract. Nothing has really any meaning.
Not much.
We don't say anything with meaning anymore. You look at the world around us, and in the name of the United States, in the name of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
If you and Mr. Biden will tell you, it's a word of a Biden, it's right.
Yep.
I wouldn't trust you any further than I could throw you, man.
No, I wouldn't either.
Why? Because your conduct doesn't reflect your speech.
Nope.
So what's your name? And I'm going to go back to this because we've looked at the Hebrew, we've looked at the Greek. Both of these words meaning character and authority in those respects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought I'd look at the English version, the word name. This is the Etymology dictionary, which we quote quite a bit, right? Word by which a person or thing is denoted. Old English, nama, noma, which in Greek it's onoma. Name, reputation. From Proto-Germanic, Naman, the source also of Old Saxon Namo or Namo, Old Frisian Nama, and the Old High German is Namo. So it's all pretty much the same thing. From the Pi root is nomen. And this is where the English word name comes from, meaning a famous person is from the 1610s. Man of name or man of distinction is from the 14th century, meaning one's reputation, that which is commonly said of a person, is from the 13th century as a modifier, meaning well known, is attested by 1938. And then it goes on to say, in the name of, in behalf of, by authority of. Used in invocations, etc., is by the late 14th century. Name day. That was a very big one, your name day, because people were given their name and it was a celebration and they had a name day. This the day sacred to the saint whose name by person bears is by 1721. Name brand, product, made by a well-known company, is from 1944. Name dropper, person who seeks to impress. All of these things, name child, the name of the game, have one's name in lights. All these things reflect and go to character, the character, the nature of something. So the interesting thing here is, in this first part it says in the name of, in behalf of, by authority of. And this word authority, this is always the one that is the kicker in my estimation, because the word authority always denotes authorship. Well, that defines then this is authorship. This is yours. It belongs to you.
Yep.
You created this.
Yep.
So if we say in the name of the United States, who created that? Where's their authority? How does their authorship? And our authorship is founded, and the bedrock of the name is in the Constitution.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's our authority. That's our name. Should be.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what the cultural fight is about right now.
Yeah, it is.
There are people, and I want people to understand this. I'm using this. This is as Paul would put it, a human analogy or a man analogy.
Right.
But look at the cultural war that is going on. It's about whose name and who is the author of that name. Because we no longer want the name of the Constitution.
No.
In this nation.
No.
And this is what, and I want, and this is the best way I think I can explain to where people have a context in which we can move forward, because this is the war, the cultural war in this nation.
It is. And you know, when you go back to ancient times, children weren't born, or when they were born, they weren't named necessarily immediately. Some children didn't receive their names till they were a few years old. And the reason being is they named the child a lot of times after the nature of the child, when they saw the nature, when they saw what kind of child it was. This was true in Indian culture. This was true in many cultures around the world. And it's interesting to note, son, that when key men were born that the Lord said were going to be here, he named them.
Yeah.
Isaac was named. Jesus was named. Jacob was named. These men were named by the Lord. He told them what their name was going to be when they were born. This is what you will call this child. And so isn't it then therefore important if the Lord gets involved in it and tells you what to name the child, I think that's pretty important.
Well, okay. And this goes to the context of things. You know, when you look at the greater cultural war, folks, and I know I got the camera there so you can see me. I know I'm looking at Dad over there, so sorry if back and forth. But double duty in today. I think it's interesting when we look at this thought process and people say, you know, what's in a name? We've talked about that. Is the character of it? What does it mean? Why do we say these things? You know, when we look at the word Jesus, the name, it was a very common name in that day. The word itself, Joshua, we say Joshua, but we call him Jesus. But that's not his name. That's an English version. You have Yeshua in Hebrew, Iesus in Greek. That's the way it's pronounced in Greek.
Yep.
Iesus. And we Englishized that into Jesus. Okay. But his name, Joshua, meant salvation, rescuer, deliverer.
Yep.
So there was uniquely it was uniquely purposed when the angel told Mary the same thing. And you will call him Yeshua. Okay. Why? And how does that reflect? Where do we come to? And we're going to get into this because I believe it's very important. There is no other name given under heaven by where men can be saved. We're going to look at a few of these scriptures and whatnot, but I want to make sure we look at this culturally and what's going on and what's been happening in the world, because we have to have perspective on these things. You have to understand, it's what's going on right now. Who is in charge? Where do we get our authority? Why are people dying right now? Why do men stand up in nation after nation? Why are the globalists, which is what is, in my opinion, more important than anything, standing up and saying, no, this is the authorship of life. Mm-hmm. We have the answer. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy. We know exactly what you need. Yep. Trust us. This is what mankind is. We've defined it. We're defining what mankind is as a being, as a person. We have the right name. See, because name doesn't necessarily mean what you are called by in the pub. We call him Jesus because the Father said he will bring salvation.
Yep. He'll deliver the people from their sin, from their missing the mark.
But isn't there more to Jesus than that?
Oh, absolutely.
What we're seeing in the world today is that same cultural battle that has been from the garden. It's a cultural battle. Whose name will rule the earth? The one mankind has made for himself, or the one Jehovah gave?
Yeah, think about it. Yeah. What's going to do it? Which one? Yeah.
I think it's the same thing, Dad.
Yeah, it is. And you know, all you have to do is look at an election or anything like that in any country in the world, and the name is fought over, fought for. Well, we should get this guy or this woman or that woman, and their name is out there all the time. On every piece of literature, sign, anything you can find, the name is there. Okay, we know the name. We know the name, but do we really know the person? It's one thing to know somebody's name. It's another thing to know their person, their character, what they are. And you don't know. See, this is the thing. Well, we do. I mean, people are just, they don't want to see it. They don't want to look at it. But you can know a little bit about the name of a person by watching them and judging their character. But how many people do that when they vote? How many people have actually looked at the guy before they voted for him, and then after they vote, they say, oh, man, what'd I do that for? Well, his character was out there all the time.
But, Dad, isn't he good looking?
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's sharp, man. He dresses neat. Got a nice tie on.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and listen, if you don't think when they're presenting these people that doesn't come into view, you're wrong.
Barack Obama was as smooth as a dude as you can.
Oh, yeah.
And he could speak.
Oh, yes.
If you listen to Barack Obama give a speech, he can deliver a speech.
He could talk. Yes, he could. He wasn't mumbling all over himself.
No, not like the gentleman we have now. Barack Obama could speak. He could articulate. He's an articulate man. You know, it's funny. People go, well, that's just a fact.
It's a fact. It's the way it was.
Still
is.
Yes. You can't take that away from the man. I mean, it's just a fact. That's how he got where he is.
Yeah. I don't agree with him.
Nope.
But he's good at what he does.
Absolutely. And, you know, charisma, all these things we talk about. What makes somebody John F. Kennedy?
Yes. Yeah.
Why do you vote for somebody?
Huh?
See, and we've talked about this at length, Dad, over the last, and folks, you've heard us say this. We always end up having, as Americans, voting for the lesser of two evils, right?
Yep.
So when are we going to actually put ourselves in a position? Oh, wait. What? Wait. Isn't Jesus king? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, it's our sacred duty. It's our God-given right to vote. How'd that go for Israel? Give us a king.
Yeah.
They're voting Jehovah out of office, man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Yeah. And when they got it, they didn't necessarily like it. And the Lord told them what was going to happen and what would be required when they did it.
And over what, 200 now, almost 60 years, I guess. What has been the character of this nation, Dad?
Well, progressively worse, I think. But I think it's only in the sense of population growth, though, because I don't think man has been any different much from, you know, if you go back and look at the old campaign slogans back in the day, friend, they got on each other. And you know what you was talking about a minute ago, son? It's funny, you know, Kennedy was Camelot.
Yeah.
We're going to make Camelot.
Right.
Reagan, he was a constitutionalist. He's going to bring us back to this. Now it's change. This is going to change. They don't tell you what. They don't tell you how. They just say, hey, we need change. Well, explain that to me.
Well, they do.
Well, but they don't at first.
No, they do. It's just only in certain areas, and you have to go digging 5 layers deep to find out what the change is all about.
Yeah, what they really meant. And so you know, what issues are actually talked about, even among those that are running against each other in the same party. When they get on a stand to debate, it isn't about the issue. Usually it's not about issues. It's about attacking one another. And they're the same party. But they get after each other. Well, what's that got to do with it? This is my thought on this issue. What is your thought on the issue? Not character assassination.
And that's what popped into my head. Everything is about character assassination.
Yes.
We have to assassinate the person's character across from us because they're the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with issues.
And then when it's all over, I just love this person.
Yeah.
Isn't he wonderful, folks?
Well, it's like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
I know. That's what she called him a racist, everything, but, she never said a good word about it. And now I'm with Joe Biden. We're going to do great things.
Yes.
I just love this man.
Yeah. It's almost comical if it wasn't sad.
You're a lying sack.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Yeah.
Don't you get that? She's a liar. How can you say this on this side and then over here say this on this side? We're going to do great things, Joe Biden and I.
Yeah.
Well, we had to run a good campaign. Are you not listening? Who are you supposed to believe? By what name am I supposed to take upon myself? These are the names I've been given?
Think about it.
This is what I'm trying to get people to consider in all of this. And I think we have to, seriously, Dad.
That's the way most things are decided. Which way's the wind blowing? Let's go that way, How many people can we convince of this nonsense?
And so, when we talk about this is the thing. And, here's a comment. We know Jesus by, got to put my glasses on, who he was and still is. It's not hard to understand who he is. Jehovah also. When we read the scriptures, we can see Jehovah truly is. He's always the same. Okay, and that's a good statement, but it's still, we have to define that a little bit better. What's the character of Jehovah? What do you mean by that? He still is what? What name and by what authority? What is the authorship? What is man as a being that defines character? Did you see that comment? You got.
I don't know what it is. My screen is really small today,
Oh,
so I got to get my glasses on.
That's from Anita.
Yeah.
Joe went on a bike ride in Maui yesterday instead of doing the job he was to do.
Probably
Well,
searching.
actually, that is his job too, is to ride a bicycle, Anita.
He's probably searching for an ice cream store.
Oh,
He
I'm
could
sorry,
stop that.
folks. But again, this is what I mean, and I think this is where we have to change the conversation. For so long, we've done the same things, Dad, and we say things like this. It's very blanketed in one respect. Who he is. Well, who is he? Can you describe your Father in heaven? Tell me about his character. Tell me about who he is as a person, as a
His
being.
nature. Absolutely.
I can describe you. You're my father. You're my earthly father. I can describe you. People ask me, I can describe my dad to people, not just as physical, which I can do, but as a person as well. And this is what we cannot do and we don't do. We use these adjectives, these flowery adjectives, these abstract words that Jesus is beyond all comprehension and beyond all measure and beyond all. Everything's beyond what? Well, then how do you know how to conduct your life? Who are you? And this is what we're dealing with here, and this is why we see what we're seeing in the world. They are defining mankind. They're defining society. They're defining culture.
Yep.
As your character and your conduct and how you're supposed to act. And if you do not conduct yourself in this fashion, you will not be part of the society.
Yeah, I heard a man on one of the talk shows the other day talking about this, and he made a good point. And this is what you see around the world. It really is. He said people are lulled into a false sense because they don't see anybody really being physically attacked or hurt that way. But he said, you better understand, you're a second-class citizen. He said, in the nations around the world, he said, they don't put them all in jail, in prison, and everything. Oh, some they do, but they don't all. But he said, if you're not part of what they are, then you're a second-class citizen. They don't look at you as anything worth anything or anything else. I thought that was a good point.
It's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
That's a fact, Dad.
Yeah. Well, I'm a citizen of the United States. Well, okay, yeah, which one? Which citizen?
And this is what we're seeing happening across the globe. This is the globalization. This is reimagining society.
Yep.
We need a reset. They're resetting, they're redefining mankind as a being. Well, problem is, as believers and what we've done with what we've created in Christianity is just another system that defines man in their own image. It's not been different. We still don't know who our Father in heaven is. Lord, show us this way. Show us the Father. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Do you not know me?
Yeah, exactly.
Philip, have you been so long a time with me, and you do not know me?
Right.
Why don't we get this stuff, Dad?
You got me. You know, and I think this is a tremendous problem. You know, Jesus constantly admonished us to trust in the Lord. And, you know, he said, you know, look, don't you see the birds, see the flowers, see all of this? The Father takes care of them. But what we're doing today, and have done through the centuries, is we look to some man or some government or somebody to take care of us. And we think they're actually going to take care of us. And more today, man, people want the government to step in, give them money, give them this, forgive their debts, do all of this stuff. After all, the government is going to take care of me. Well, your trust is in the wrong thing, I'll guarantee you right now, because they're not there to take care of you. They don't even care about you. They don't think about you. They don't care about you. In fact, it's not in their mind at all. What they care about is themselves. And so we're looking at the wrong place. Israel did it, as Brian said a minute ago. They asked for a king. Well, why'd they ask for a king? Why? Wasn't the Lord good enough to take care of them? Wasn't Jehovah good enough? Well, give us a king. You know, you got two sons that are really a mess, so we need a king. Well,
and their reasoning too, Dad,
Yeah.
so we can have decisions made like all the other nations.
the other nations.
Well, you weren't supposed to be like all the other nations.
No, not at all. Big problem, big wrong there.
And Dad, this goes to your point. You've said this for years. We don't listen to people talk. Where's our listening skills?
No, we don't.
We have, you know, everybody talks about critical. You need critical thinking skills, you know. Well, how about just think? I mean, just think. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's start thinking. Let's start putting ourselves in this place where we listen to what people are saying and understand that that is their name. When they start talking about things and what they do and what they like and who they are, this is who they are. That's their name. I don't care if you call them Joe, John, Bob. Doesn't matter. That's just something we call the person.
Yeah.
So that we don't say, hey, you.
Right.
Their name is a reflection of them as a person, their conduct, their character.
Yeah. That's the next question to ask after you say somebody, you say their name. The next thing you have to ask is, who are you? Really?
Right.
Because just the name doesn't tell me nothing. There's a lot of Johns, there's a lot of Bobs, there's a lot of Roberts, there's a lot of Brians, there's a lot of everything.
Yes. Yes.
So what's that tell me about you? That just gives me an identity that I can call you when I see you. I can say, but do I know you? Do I really know you? Have you really shown yourself to me?
And I don't know if you've ever done this, Dad, and I don't know if any of you out there watching have ever done this. Go to Google and find out. Go to Facebook. Find out how many other people have your exact name.
Oh, absolutely.
There's other people that are named Brian French.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So are me, Robert French.
Yes.
Sir. That's why they ask me when I go to I go get a checkup ring at my hospital where I go. My doctors are there. They always have to ask my birth date. Why? Because there's other Roberts there and other Frenches there.
Exactly.
And so they ask me my birth date, so they know which one it is.
Yeah. And that. So tell me that's who you are. No. These are constructs of what we've created in culture and in society, mankind has. But we have forgotten the understanding of name. Authorship, character.
And if you look at Israel, when the Lord first began to deal with them and give them instruction, what was it about? What they were called, their name. Now, yeah, as I said before, the Lord gave some people their names. But not only did he give them their name, he expected them then to live up to that name.
Yeah.
You do what I tell you to do. See, Jesus was one that did it. He lived up to his name. He lived up to the name he was given. He was a deliverer. He did bring salvation, the knowledge of it. And he did it exactly. So what was Israel's problem? Oh, they had names. They all had names. But man, in their actions and their deeds and how they lived and what they did, didn't follow the instruction the Lord gave them.
Dad, to your point, see, so what's the character of that salvation? Everything has a character.
Yeah.
You know, salvation may come in what form? In what character? What's the nature of that salvation? We would ask this question. We've sent troops over to other nations, and we have rescued them from danger.
Mm-hmm.
What was the nature of that salvation? It was a military process.
Right, exactly.
And the character of it was characterized in a military manner. Language in it, how they did it, the thought process behind it, the authorship, the planning. Do we even consider that? Mm-hmm. We say it, the plan of salvation. Well, what's the plan, bro? What is the plan? When was it enacted? Well, I believe salvation has always been the intent of the Father, or else he would have enacted the sentence of death upon the first man. Mm-hmm. In the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. I know everybody goes, well, and death came. Yes, we know that. But he said, in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. That means destruction. That means death. So, what do we get from this? Well, there was a act of contrition on the Father's part, not to carry out the sentence, giving mankind an opportunity to repent. And I believe, and this is where character and nature, this is, so this gives me an understanding of who my Father is then. Let's talk about that. Does it say it? Yeah, in the way he conducted himself. He conducted himself in a fashion that said, you weren't the author of this rebellion. I have never heard or seen an opportunity. There's nothing said about the author of this rebellion for salvation. The adversary himself. Where is his salvation? It's only man.
Yep.
And I believe that is it. We were not the author of this rebellion, but we sure are part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that we're in it, we're working desperately. And this is why you will receive the punishment of death, the sentence of death, if you continue in that rebellion, because that rebellion brought death.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there. That's the character and nature of it. So how do we understand this, and how do we move through this? So this gives me an understanding that if I continue in this movement, in the cultural wars that men have created throughout the globe, and especially now, no matter what, it ends in death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't escape it. It's a fact.
No.
But I see an understanding of my Father's character there, that I'm not going to. Will you destroy the righteous with the wicked?
No.
Character. It's an understanding of, if you do what is right. Oh, Cain, if you do what's right, why is your face downcast?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you know that if you do what is right, I will accept you as well? It's what he said.
And you know, it comes to mind that people talk about faith, and I've dealt with faith for many years in different ways, and faith is being convinced of something. Well, what are you convinced of? Well, I'm convinced that God he's there, he exists. Not enough. That's not enough. And then, well, God loves me and he'll take care of me. No, that's not enough. What you have to believe in is God's character, and that's what we're talking about. What is his character? He will do what he said he will do. He is who he is. He doesn't change. I am the Lord and I don't change. So well, he loves me. Well, okay, he loves me. He loves mankind. That's fine. But why does he love me? How is that love shown? How is it shed abroad? And there are conditions to it. I don't care what anybody says. You can't read the book without understanding the conditions that are set forth in the book. Yeah, God's love is shed abroad into all the world if you accept it. If you don't, then that's up to you. But if I trust in the character of Jehovah, if I trust his character, then I know he's going to do what is right by me and by anything else that I ask him. That's as simple as I can put it.
And as we finish today, and we'll come back and look at some of these things in this discussion tomorrow, because what Dad said there, I want to, in Matthew 28:19, and I was looking at this. It's where he says, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel, baptizing them in the name." This is Matthew, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Mark says it a little differently. Go ye into all the world and preach this gospel to every creature. I think into all the world.
And all the world. Yeah, Matthew doesn't say world.
No. He said to all, make disciples in every nation is what it says.
No.
And I was curious, because name there, it's what we've been talking about, and I want to end today with this, and we'll come back and we'll finish tomorrow. I want to give you something to think about, because I translated this myself, and I know people go, "Oh, you can't do that." Then why did John Wycliffe do it, and Tyndale, and all the other people that have done this. Because we look at the language and try to understand what these things mean. Well, Greek, there's 4 or 5 different words that we've, translated one Greek word to, and I just don't understand that part in certain respects. But very abstract is our language. But I translated it this way, and I said, go now. This is Matthew 28:19. And this is from direct Greek understanding of these words. Go now and instruct all races of mankind. That word nations is the Greek word ethnos, which is about races. All races of mankind. Go and instruct, because it says make disciples. Discipleship is just instruction. Mm-hmm. That's what the word means. Go now and instruct all races of mankind. Now here's the big one, baptizing. Well, the word baptize just means to whelm. You ever felt overwhelmed? We say that word, but we never use the word whelmed to begin with, which just means to cover or immerse. Whelming them into the name. Well, if we use that word correctly, anoma, I believe it's how it's pronounced, whelming them into the character and authority of the Father and the Son, and of the mind that has been set apart from this world. Because the word pneuma has the meaning of your mind, your understanding. The character and authority of the Father. Well, where did the Son get his character and authority? From his Father. It's where I got mine.
I do what I've seen my father do.
That's what it says there. But we've created this into some ritual and some mystery instead of understanding the nature and character of our Father and bringing people into this same character and authority just as the Son was, with the mind of the Father, mm-hmm. that counsel that sets you apart from this world. I am no longer part of this world. I am in it, but I am not
of it.
I hope that helps you think through some things, and we'll come back and finish that up tomorrow. Because I think this is the subject I think that really gets right to it, Papa.
Yeah, it does. It gets right down to the ground.
Repent, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And what are we going to choose? So I appreciate all the comments there. And even the bicycle ride, that was fun. Love you, Anita. I love the levity.
Yeah, that's fun.
So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We do appreciate it very much. And for all of us here at RAF Ministries inside the Faith Loop, everybody have a great day in the Lord, and always remember to give love
and give life
and give Jesus.